Hey guys, how's it going? It's been a while since I put a video up, and I apologize for that. I'm working on a few right now. They will be up soon enough, as soon as I can get them finished. One's a cover, one's actually a little project I've been working on, and another is the one you'll be watching right now. This is another top 10 video. I haven't made one in a while, so I figured, I think I want to make one. So I did. This is top 10 coolest video game villains. And most of these games I played when I was growing up, and, I'm still growing up, but as a younger child. And these are all villains that I remember very vividly, very fondly, and they made the games great. They really just added a lot of character to the games. Now, most of these you guys would probably know, but there's a few you probably don't know, because some of them are pretty obscure. And let's get started with number 10. Okay, number 10, Sephiroth from Final Fantasy VII. Now, most of you are probably saying, why is Sephiroth all the way at number 10? Well, I put him there for two reasons. The first reason is because Final Fantasy VII was a great game, and his personality really made the game pretty much what it is. Without Sephiroth, Final Fantasy VII would just be another boring RPG. But the reason why he's number 10 is because if I didn't put him in this list, I feel so many people would complain about it and bitch at me about it. So I said, alright, I'll put him in there, but I'll put him at number 10. So number 10, I don't think he needs any at all, explanation why he's a great villain. If you think he does, just go play Final Fantasy VII. It's a great RPG. Sephiroth, number 10. Alright, number 9. Wesker from Resident Evil. Now, everybody should know Wesker, and he's kind of like Sephiroth. He's very well known, he's badass, and no one screws with him. So, that being said, the particular Wesker I'm talking about is the Wesker from Resident Evil 1 through Code Veronica, I would say. After that, I didn't like Resident Evil as much. It wasn't Resident Evil. 4 just did not cut it for me. So, Wesker in Resident Evil 1 through Code Veronica was the best Wesker I can think of. He played some major roles in Code Veronica, and that was probably my favorite on-screen performance of Wesker. That or Resident Evil 1. Really just very tension-building, and he is undeniably one of the greatest villains in video game history. Point blank, nothing else to be said. Number 8, the boss from Metal Gear Solid 3. Now, if you've played this game, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about when I say this. The boss really plays both sides. She's more like a mother to Snake than she is a villain or an antagonist. But at the same time, they're on different sides, and they really do read each other. So it really adds a really deep storyline to the game. And a lot of games just won't do that. Mostly the villains are just pure evil, no mercy. But the boss really has the both ends going on for her. She doesn't want to kill Snake, but she does. She raised him pretty much and trained him and everything. And she really just feels for him. And that's why I think the boss really belongs in this list. So at number 8, the boss, for her cool, calm, and collectiveness for Snake in Metal Gear 3. Number 7, Anton Gurdu. Now, most of you won't remember this guy, but for those of you who have played and remember the Siphon Filter series fondly, you'll remember Anton Gurdu as your first flame-throwing boss that you fight in Memorial Park, and he was just one of the most memorable fights I could think of for Siphon Filter. He really reminds me of the guy from Lethal Weapon 4, right in the beginning when he's torching cop cars with the flamethrower and the SMG. That's what I think of when I think of Anton Gurdu, and vice versa. So, Anton Gurdu, while not very well known, is a really good villain. He really wants to kill Gabe. I mean, he really just hates Gabe. And he's a hitman, basically. So it works out. So, number 7, Anton Gurdu. Number 6 is Jack the Ripper from Medieval 2. Now, for those of you who have played this game, you'll know what I'm talking about. Just looking at this guy gives you chills down your spine. I mean, he has the bloody fingers, he's really tall, really skinny, and he's really fast and really powerful. He's not only one of the coolest medieval characters, but he's one of the hardest bosses as well. It's just, he can tear you up in a few seconds if you let your guard down. He's that fast, he's that terrible, and he's that much of a badass villain. He definitely belongs on this list, because he pretty much kills your girlfriend and laughs in your face. That's what he does. And that, my friends, is enough for me to put him on this list. So number 6 is Jack the Ripper from Medieval 2. Number 5, Minion from Twisted Metal. Now the Minion I'm talking about is the early original Minion from Twisted Metal 1 and Twisted Metal 2. My personal favorite is the original from Twisted Metal 1, when Minion was the final boss of the whole entire competition. He had every special in the game, he was way overpowered, and he could tear you up if you sat still for just 1 second more than you needed to. That's the Minion I remember. I mean, just thinking about this huge tank with every special in the game, and the highest defense in the game, and he was actually rather fast. He would chase you down everywhere you went, and he couldn't die from falling off the rooftops like he could do in that level. He was pretty much immortal, and the only way to get to him was chip his health away just little by little. Minion definitely belongs in this list as a top 10 villain, and I'm putting him as number 5. That's Minion. Number 4 is none other than Rez from Gex. Now most of you guys really won't feel that he fits this list, but I think that he's awesome enough to be not only in this list, but number 4 in this list. Now Gex is one of my favorite series, particularly the first game, and Rez was awesome in all of these games. But my favorite Rez was in the first Gex game, the only 2D Gex game. And Rez was later revealed to be Gex's father, obviously a Star Wars parody like most of the Gex games are. Or all of them are, actually. But Rez was basically this cybernetic TV overlord, and he pretty much ruled the whole media dimension. And his only goal was to get rid of Gex and rule that. Because Gex was the only one apparently holding him back. So, none other than Rez is number 4. One of the coolest villains I can think of, and one of the funniest as well. Number 3 is Kubia from the Dot Hack Quadrilogy on the PS2. Now, I know he was in the show, I know he was in the GU games, and I know he was in pretty much everything to do with Dot Hack. But the particular Kubia I'm talking about is the Kubia from the original PS2 Quadrilogy, Infection, Mutation, Outbreak, Quarantine. He was awesome, and Kubia was probably one of the coolest bosses that I can think of ever in a video game. Just the way you fought him, what you later revealed, what really happened with Kubia. I'm not going to ruin it, but it was just awesome. He was huge, he was powerful, and he was an awesome boss. Everything about him made this game a better game. And Kubia is one of my all-time favorite bosses of all time, so he belonged in this list at number 3. Kubia from Dot Hack. Alright, number 2. This one, I'm sure none of you will probably remember. Deoric from Lords of Thunder. Deoric was the evil god summoned by the High Priest Sornbul and the 6 Dark Generals, and he was pretty much to obliterate the world. Deoric is one of the coolest, coolest main last bosses that I can personally think of. Now, the game itself is very little remembered, and it's a shame because it's a great game, and Deoric makes the perfect boss for the perfect 2D side shooter. He was the Lord of Darkness, he was your living hell, and he was gonna kill you if you didn't kill him. And while he was not the hardest final boss, he was definitely one of the coolest I can think of. So number 2 belongs to Deoric from Lords of Thunder. Number 1. Who's it gonna be? Well, number 1 is Lloyd from The Legend of Dragoon. Now, while Lloyd is not a villain for the whole entire game, for the majority of the game, he is. So I can justly say he's a villain and belongs on this list. Now, for the first 3 of 4 discs, Lloyd is your main antagonist. You're after him, you're on his tail for the whole game. He's a very shadowy figure, not much is known about him, but he does the unspeakable. He does everything in his power to make sure Dart and the whole entire party hate his guts. To name a few things that he does, he burns your hometown to the ground, and he kills your best friend in cold blood. And even worse, he rubs it in. At any chance he gets, he will rub it in. That's why Lloyd, to me, is number one on this list. Without Lloyd, we wouldn't have half the plot we did for The Legend of Dragoon, which is probably the greatest RPG game ever made for any system ever. And I don't think it's possible to top the game. But that wouldn't be, anything without Lloyd. Lloyd provides most of the storyline, a lot of the storyline at least, and he really makes the game a lot of what it is. I love him as a villain. He really makes the game perfect for me. And that's why Lloyd is number one on my list. Okay guys, you just finished watching my top 10 coolest video game villains countdown. And what I want is your feedback. I want your feedback to let me know what you thought of my list. Now that was my personal top 10 list, not an official list obviously, just my personal top 10. That's what I think some of the coolest villains in any video games are. So, if you could leave your feedbacks in forms of a comment, or maybe you could make a video response or anything, that would be great. I'd really appreciate it. And if you like this video, I have plenty more just like it on my page. You can subscribe me, you can friend me, or you can just watch them and not do either. Either one is fine. I just appreciate you guys watching my videos, for all my subscribers, all my friends out there. And I will see you in the near future with another video. Thanks for watching.